new studio now in Copenhagen. I once said in a video that I would make an update whenever I move to Copenhagen. Copenhagen, where I will set it up once again. That time's now. The studio is now once again set up and ready for a lot of sound and music work. To be honest, I'm quite a bit slow to make this video actually, so I have been using the studio already for like a long time. I will probably have links to all the different gear in the description, so you can check it out if you want. You could say that I've been on a shopping spree lately. I have been out and buying a lot of different gear for different sound purposes, some of which is for sound, for filmmaking, and some of which is just for general sound design and music making. Where to start? There's so much to talk about. Okay, I now have some Genelec 8030 speakers, and not just my old KRK Rocket 5 speakers. And the new Genelec speakers, they are for my 5.1 surround sound system. I actually decided to keep my KRK Rockets just for reference, because I know the sound of the Rockets so well, at least for some time until I get used to the sound of the Genelecs. Then we can talk about maybe ditching the KRKs or maybe throwing them up in the ceiling to make some kind of Dolby Atmos thing, but that is for a later date. Oh, and by the way, it's important to mention that I am in no way sponsored by any of these brands. I went out and bought all this stuff with my own money. It is simply my stuff and my opinion on that stuff. Then we of course have the huge LG TV behind, and I've been thinking a lot about the screen setup in the studio, because I wanted a huge display where I could not only have the movie for reference when I'm doing sound design for film, but also use the TV screen as real estate. Actually, what I find myself doing a lot of times is to take the Pro Tools session and move it up on the big screen and then just stretch it out to make some kind of widescreen lookalike. And then on my Mac I would have my sound library open and then just spot sound into Pro Tools from there. And then we have the new MacBook. Bro. I also recently went out and bought myself a MacBook Pro M1 Pro, which I am deeply in love with, and it's a crazy, insanely powerful machine. And it is, in my opinion, really the sweet spot of the MacBook Pro M1 lineup. In comparison with the M1 Max, the M1 Pro is actually pretty cost efficient, and you get all the power that you would ever need for music and sound design, in my opinion. But hey, if you have the money, just go crazy. Yeah, okay, so that's the MacBook Pro, and I love that. And to be able to both have a 5.1 setup and a stereo setup, and be able to switch between two different stereo pairs in the front, I got myself a Mackie Big Knob passive monitor controller to be able to A and B between the Genelecs and the KRKs. And in terms of audio interface, I'm actually still rocking the good old 8920 Focusrite Scarlett first generation. And it's a great machine actually. It just runs. The knobs, they got all sticky and stuff, and I actually have a video about how to fix that. So if you have an audio interface with sticky knobs as well, then you can check this video out and yeah, fix it. And because I really don't want to look at cables that much, I have got myself a CallDigit TS3 Plus dock, which makes it possible for me to connect everything to that and then only have one USB-C going from the dock and to my Mac. Not having to unplug everything from your computer every single time you need to take it and run out the door because you have somewhere you need to be is just so convenient and just so nice. So that dock is actually one of my absolute favorite pieces in the entire studio, just because it is so practical. And then headphones. When I'm not using the Genelecs or the KRKs, I have my Biodynamic 1990 Pro, which is an open back headphone. I would probably say it's one of the more closed open back headphones, but nonetheless it's an open back. That is hands down the best headphones I have ever tried in my entire life. They have a level of detail and a soundstage that you will not find anywhere else. In my experience, and I've actually done this a few times, you can make your music or sound design on those headphones when you're out and about. And then when you get back home in the studio, you can reference that mix that you made on the headphones on the speakers, and it actually sounds really, really precise. And that is like exactly what I need a pair of headphones to do in my day-to-day sound work. But don't confuse the headphones with being like a high-end audiophile headphone. It's not. They are made to totally decipher your mix. They are designed to give you a very, very precise reference point to what kind of sound you're actually making. That is why they are perfect in the studio environment, but not necessarily in the sofa. And then in terms of microphones for the studio, I have my good old and trusted Rode NT1A condenser mic, and I have been using that mic for pretty much everything throughout the years. That is still a part of the studio, just because it is a very versatile and very cheap and also actually very good mic, especially for the price. Then I also have a stereo set of Samson CO2, which are great for a lot of different things, from overheads on drums to stereo guitar recordings and a bunch of other stuff. And then I have my Shure Beta kick drum mic, which I only use for kick drums and also for bass and cajon sometimes. And then of course I also have a Shure SM57. You gotta have that in the studio. A huge chunk of the work I do with audio is audio for film. So that's why I have invested in 2 kits for sound production on film sets. I just got myself a new audio bag with the Sound Devices 833 and then with the Visicom MCR 54. In the other end of that wireless system I have the Visicom MTP 40S, and then I also have, so I can add up some extra wireless if I need. And for the boom mic I use a DPA 4017 with the C amplifier, which is super great because then you get like a smaller size, which I really like because I'm trying to keep everything as light as possible when it comes to booms. And then for lav mics I'm using the DPA 6060s. They are super ultra miniature mics with only a diameter of 3 millimeters, which is super great for when you're trying to hide mics on the Talent. And they fit inside their own little Bumblebee concealer, which is also super tiny. So now let's talk about the other kit that I have, which is a smaller kit for smaller applications. It's with the Sound Devices Mix Pre 6 Mark II, and then with the Deity Connect Deluxe kit as the wireless system. This is a very, very inexpensive kit compared to the other one, but has actually a lot going for it. I think it's a pretty solid kit, which I have used to make Netflix productions and relatively demanding stuff, and this kit actually held up super great. For wireless mics I am using the Deity VLAV Pro, and then for this Mix Pre kit I am using a Sennheiser 416 shotgun microphone for the boom. It's a good old Hollywood classic, works great, has that kind of vintage cinema sound, which is really like iconic by now. Yeah, I think we're getting there. Alright, let's talk about drums. The other part of my life. I have my lovely Sonar Force 3003 drum kit, which I like a lot. It's in the white sparkle finish, and that's just lovely in my opinion. And then I have a bunch of different snare drums, like the standard 3003 snare drum that comes with the kit. Then I have like a brandless steel snare drum. It's 13-inch and I think it sounds so snappy. It's just straight to the point. And then I have a Pearl Firecracker, which I use a lot. I actually won that one in a competition once for like the fastest single strokes in 1 minute. Good times. And then I have a Mapex. I have no idea what model that is, but I use that one a lot as well. And then for cymbals, I am kind of a Meinl guy. I use the 14-inch Meinl Bisense extra dry hi-hat. And then I use the Meinl Bisense 22-inch extra dry dual Crash ride. A lot of words. If I had to pick one cymbal, that would probably be like the one. And other than that, I have a Stagger, which is a Masterworks something 12-inch on the bottom, and then a Bison's Splash on the top. And then I have some old Dream Bliss Crash cymbals, 15-inch and a 16-inch, something around there. That's the more normal sounding, or like the more traditional sounding Crash in the collection. But then a Crash cymbal that I use quite a lot is this tongue twister, which is the Paste PSTX 16-inch Swish Thin Crash. The most insane Crash. It has that like really pop white noise Crash sound, which is very perfect for a lot of the more like modern things that I play. It's great as a Crash, but it's also very great as a hi-hat top. Yeah, that's the cymbals. Then I have a Hangdrum, and that's just because I have wanted a Hangdrum for such a long time. But they are pretty expensive and not really like the most useful thing to have until you really need some zen and you just want to sit in the sofa and just have a great time with a Hangdrum. That sound is just so nice. We also got a Caron. I have some IKEA trådfri to control all the lights and the studio in here and the TV as well. I also have some MIDI controllers. I have the Nectar Impact LX49, which is my MIDI keyboard, my like center controller in the studio. And then I also have the Korg pad control for whenever I need to do some more like MPC kind of stuff. I also have a Numark Orbit MIDI controller, which is a wireless MIDI controller, and that is super fun for special occasions. Yeah, and I think we're about there now. That's also a pretty long video by now. That's all the gear that I use on a daily basis as a sound designer and location sound mixer, and also drummer / musician. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Keep an eye on the channel for reviews coming soon, hopefully, for all of these different things that I use. And other than that, thanks a lot for watching. If you want, you can like the video, that would help me out a lot. You can also consider subscribing if this kind of audio stuff is what you're all about. And until next time, guys, have a great time and talk to you soon. Bye.